This conference will now be recorded.
Hey everybody, it's Thursday at 2:30, so it's time for our Monday through Thursday 2:30 podcast. This is the podcast where you'll hear the science, hear the truth about what actually happened to people during this opioid crisis. And Monday's a big day. Monday we get our first feedback from the attorney. This is the attorney who is interested in helping us file the first wave of mass tort lawsuits. Uh, she's actually reading. Uh, Chapters 1 through 5 of the book, and I will hear back from her uh, after the podcast on Monday. So I won't have anything to report on this issue on Monday. Um, and Alex and I did get Chapter 6 uploaded to the editors today. So we're completely done with 1 through 6. Uh, Most likely, many people are gonna be using this book as an audio book. So most likely, all the graphics will just be included in a series of graphics at the end of the book, and not scattered throughout. Um, and that way, people who do the audio book can also get a download of all the graphics. One of the graphics is what's on the screen in front of you, and this is a very important graphic for Chapter 6. Chapter 6 is where we cover the science of what we did in our first clinical trial, and that's what's on the screen in front of you. And the question for Chapter 6 is a simple question, and the question is: did we achieve our goal with the FDA? And the goal was to submit overwhelming scientific evidence in favor of buprenorphine, not just evidence that was strong, not just evidence in favor of, but overwhelming scientific evidence. Because the real question is the FDA ignoring overwhelming scientific evidence? And to us, the answer is a resounding yes. Hell yes. They're completely ignoring overwhelming scientific evidence, and the evidence is on the screen in front of you. Okay, and granted, there's a lot of evidence there, but we color coded this thing using grays so that you can just take a quick glance at it and kind of get an idea of what the science is telling you. Okay, and this thing, gray is bad, so the more gray is bad. And you see 4 columns there, each one on top of the other one, 1, 2, 3, 4. And at the very top there, that's our people when they're sick. That's 15 people in withdrawal. That's 15 people who stopped taking. Actually, they stopped taking buprenorphine and came into the office on day number 3. And on the left hand side there, you see their blood values, their adrenaline levels, blood that we drew and sent off to the lab. And then in the middle and on the right hand side, those are the questions that they answered. Those are the neurotoxicity scale and the opioid craving scale. And as you can see, that when people are sick, when people have the signature disease, when people are experiencing what most people at least refer to as opioid withdrawal, uh, they're bad sick. Their blood levels are incompatible with life. That's how bad they are, and they feel real bad. Okay, and they're craving opioids like crazy because the sickness is so bad. Okay, and that's what you're looking at there. Okay, and then the second chart there, that's that's the same group of people. That's the same 15 people after one dose of buprenorphine. One dose. And all you got to do is look at how all the gray disappeared. Okay, that's one dose. Okay, one dose later. Okay, their blood levels are normalizing. They feel much better. They're not craving opioids. One dose later. Okay, go down one more chart, and that's the same people. Uh, uh, really a couple of months later. And when people stabilize on buprenorphine, and they've been on buprenorphine for weeks to months, they really go back to normal. The bottom chart there, the bottom row, that's people who have never taken opioids before. Those are opioid naive people. Those are people who, when they stop taking the opioids, they don't get sick. Okay, they don't have the genetic damage. And as you can see, buprenorphine pretty much makes people normal. Okay, and so this is part of the evidence, not all the evidence. This is part of the evidence of what we submitted to the FDA. And yes, this is overwhelming scientific evidence. Okay, this is overwhelming scientific evidence, and frankly, to ignore evidence like this, um, in my opinion, actually pierces the cloak of immunity that these bureaucrats have. They have a thing called sovereign immunity. They can't be prosecuted, okay, unless they do something so outrageous. And I think ignoring this data, it is, yes, I think that is so outrageous that it pierces the cloak of sovereign immunity. And the question is, can we actually get some of these people prosecuted for basically not doing their job and not protecting people? And that's a down the road thing. Right now we just want the FDA to recognize the science. Okay, right now the FDA is still adhering to the pseudoscience, the non-science, the fake science of opioid addiction, opioid use disorder. That what happens to people is a mental health disorder, which is just flat out not true. So we will hold here for today. Everybody have a great and wonderful weekend. We will be back next Monday, and on Tuesday, I might even have an update on where we are with the mass tort lawsuits, or I might not have anything at all, or the lawyer may look at it and say, I'm not interested in doing this. We're not everybody's cup of tea. So we'll wait and see. But it's such a huge. If a lawyer doesn't want to do this, it's because it's such a huge, massive case, and I would understand that. I get that. Okay, this is and you're taking on large corporations. Johnson and Johnson, McKesson, Walmart, Walgreens. You're taking on companies that have very strong legal teams. But as what's on the screen is an example of, is exemplary of, the science is overwhelmingly in our favor. So we'll hold here. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us. Don't forget to post this podcast on your social media, everybody else's social media. Let's get the word out there. Have a great and wonderful weekend. And folks, we will see you back on Monday. Thank you.